the meeting to order. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 8th, 2023 Board of Supervisors meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. We've got 4 out of 5 of the supervisors present, with one, as you can tell, on a Zoom call. We have Susan Garrett, Mark Donovan, Martha Majeski, myself, Bob Cooney, and Lori Getson. On Zoom, we have Danielle Jouen. We did, I want to announce, we did have an executive session tonight before the meeting to discuss possible property acquisition, litigation, and or what's the other, we really talk about personnel. So, and we did meet, I'm going to pull the date up because I don't think we announced the last exec session meeting we had.
January 26th.
January 26th, we also had an exec session before the workshop meeting. Okay, consent agenda, acceptance of minutes of the Board of Supervisors January 11th, 2023 business meeting and January 26th, 2023 workshop meeting. All department, committee, commission, and council reports as posted and received by the Board of Supervisors for the month of 2023. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Any comments from the public? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? Okay. Treasurer's report and payment of bills. Lori.
So we had an amended, the first item here is we issued an amended treasurer's report for a period ending December 31st, 2022. The reason for that was related to the year-end transfers that the board approved, that were, the checks were cut in 2022, but the payments didn't post to the accounts until 2023. So when the treasurer's report was completed for the first meeting in January, it wasn't reflected. So we issued an amended treasurer's report so that it would show the proper values.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the amended treasurer's report for December 31st, 2022. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, any more discussion? Anybody? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consideration of acceptance of treasurer's report period ending January 31st, 2023.
All right, so this is current month treasurer's report, so period ending January 31st. As of the end of the month, we had a general fund balance of $3.6 million, and we currently are at 5% revenue, 4% of our expenses, 1 month into the year. One thing I will point out is you'll notice on the treasurer's report there are some new accounts that are showing, and we'll cover this a little bit later on the agenda too when I ask for authorization to close some old accounts. The board authorized a couple months back making some investments into Pliget. That's a local government fund that we can invest our money in, and we're getting about a little over 4.5% interest, so we're doing really well on the investments that we made there.
Awesome. Good deal. All right, I'll make a motion to accept that report. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in, any discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of disbursements dated February 8th, 2023. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Board discussion items, subdivision and land development. We have some folks here tonight to talk about the Wawa. So we've got a zoning hearing board application for the Wawa on Route 23 and Whitehorse Road. If you could introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening. My name's Deborah Shulsky with the firm of Riley Viper, Hana Greco, here on behalf of the applicant.
Excuse me, before you get started, I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to announce that I've learned that my firm has done work for Wawa, that we do employment work for them, so I don't do any of their work. I don't participate in their work, but I did want to disclose it, and I've gotten an opinion that it's not a conflict, but I'm happy to recuse myself if you feel that I should. You know, anyone.
We don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Thank you for mentioning that, though.
Sure.
So anyhow, on behalf of the applicant, Provco Pinewood Phoenixville LLC, which is quite a mouthful, I also wanted to introduce my team this evening, which is Joe Bada, who is on behalf of the developer and the applicant, also a resident of Schuykill Township. We have our traffic consultant, Greg Richardson from GPD, and our civil engineers from Bowler Engineering, Jason Korzak, and Chris, apologize for your last name. So anyhow, thank you for having us here this evening. We are here, obviously, we have a pending sketch plan currently before the township, as well as a pending zoning hearing board application for the redevelopment of the property known as the Exxon Convenience Store, which I'm sure you're all familiar with that location. It's at the intersection of White Horse and Valley Forge Road. You may recall we had previously been before your planning commission on the sketch plan. We had a very, very thorough discussion with the planning commission. They provided a number of beneficial comments. We incorporated a lot of their comments into our plans prior to submitting to the zoning hearing board. We had also been before the Board of Supervisors, as you know, to discuss various zoning interpretations and to introduce the plan to you at that meeting. You may recall this is a pretty unique site in that there are a number of nonconformities, which I know we discussed previously before with you. The existing Exxon station and the canopy is well within the front yard. It's almost virtually sitting upon the street there. The intersection is very, very unsafe currently. You can barely get out of there when car queuing. We are intending with the proposed redevelopment for Wawa of improving those situations dramatically, and we believe that we will actually be improving the safety. You'll hear from some of our experts tonight of some substantial improvements to the traffic, some reductions, complete reductions in the nonconformities. We are also reducing the scale of what's proposed in terms of the number of gas pumps, the size of the canopy. So you'll hear more about that tonight. I know that the board had discussed this application at their January 11th meeting, and we had an opportunity to review that, the recording of that meeting, and we think that there may have been some misunderstandings about some of what was being proposed, and we know that you had some questions. So we're here tonight to present that to you and hopefully answer your questions. We also think that we have incorporated some comments and concerns that you raised at that meeting, which we'll be able to go through tonight on the plans to show you some further improvements that we made to hopefully address some of the concerns that you had. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Jason, who's going to kind of introduce the location and the existing conditions, and then Joe wants to talk about his company and introduce Wawa and some of the benefits that he sees, and then we'll go into some more of the technical issues through our other engineers.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason Korzak with Bowler.
We can hand them down to you. Thank you. It's okay. We'll take care of it.
There you go, I'll pass them down from you. Just give me a couple more. There you go, thanks. Nope, we're good, I think. Or, yeah, one more, but, sorry.
Thank you. Yep.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so the printouts there match the slideshow on the screen here. If you could go to the next slide, the aerial plan, I'll use that aerial plan. There we go. A little hard to see on the board there, but basically the area that's not shaded in, that represents the area of development. It consists of 4 lots. You have the Exxon station that's closest to Valley Forge Road, which runs up and down on the page, east to west, and then White Horse Road, north to south, but on the page is going left to right. Northwest corner, the lot 1 and 2 are what is considered the area of the Exxon lot. Lot 3 has frontage on Valley Forge Road. There's an existing dwelling that would be to the west of the Exxon property that is to remain. That property actually extends out along the back towards the north, further down White Horse Road. and then wraps around the 2 lots for the Exxon station where there's some equipment storage. And then to the right, north of lot 3 is lot 4, and that lot consists of a auto repair shop. The total area of the 4 lots has a total area of 2.495 acres. In the proposed condition, we will be consolidating those 4 lots into 2 lots. The Wawa lot, lot 1, will be consolidation of lots 1 and 2, the Exxon lot, with a bit of the lot 3 that wraps around lots 1 and 2. And then lot 2 in the proposed condition will be the lot that is the auto body repair place is located on, and that will then wrap around the Wawa lot out to Valley Forge Road. As we were discussing previously, or mentioned previously, the existing gas canopy, you can see it's a large red rectangle just off of the edge of Valley Forge Road. That canopy is, hold on, 4.8 feet off of the ultimate right-of-way of Valley Forge Road, and 19.8 feet off
4.8,
of,
yeah.
That's off the ultimate, right?
yes, and then 19.8 feet off of the legal right-of-way. That canopy consists of 6 fuel dispensers. 6 fuel dispensers. Each fuel dispenser has 2 fueling positions, so that's a total of 12 fuel positions at the existing Exxon. And the convenience store is actually interconnected to the gas canopy. That canopy, hold on, I have that. The canopy existing today is over 5,000 square feet, and the proposed, one second. The existing gas canopy for the Exxon is 5,459 square feet, and the proposed Wawa canopy will be reduced to 3,960 square feet. That's pretty much everything to go over for the existing conditions. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, I think we would transition to Joe for some of the look at perspectives and before we get into the proposed conditions.
So just to be clear, you're talking about the canopy over the fuel dispenser area, nothing to do with the store itself?
That's correct. The canopy actually extends over the roof of the store. But that big large rectangle that you see, or square that you see on the plan, that would represent the gasoline canopy.
Anybody have any questions?
What's the height of the current canopy? I mean, the light sources.
The clearance of the canopy,
Yeah.
I don't have that. I would venture to guess it's probably 15 feet.
Would it increase with the Wawa canopy?
So the Wawa canopy is a proposed apron canopy.
Oh, and it goes up and.
Yeah, it is aesthetically more attractive canopy than just a flat roof canopy.
And the elevation is.
What is this?
Okay, great.
I'm a little ahead of myself. The Sunoco canopy, which one is that? Is that something else in the township? You were going to get to that?
Yes.
Okay,
Canopy is.
I'm jumping ahead, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I guess I should give you a little bit of more lay of the land. The Sunoco is on the opposite side of White Horse Road. To the opposite side of Bailey Forge exists the
Okay, I
equipment
know.
rental.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else, any more questions?
Jason will be back.
Yeah.
Proposed
All right.
conditions.
I really, thanks a lot, and I appreciate your time here tonight to go over and clarify your meeting on January 11th. We listened and took your feedback and wanted you to really understand this proposed plan. I think there was a few misconceptions to our proposed plan and what actually we are improving here. So if we go to the next slide here. So this is the existing condition that we have out on 23 going west. The existing Sunoco canopy, which sits probably around 4.8 to 5 feet from the road, and the Exxon canopy, which sits 4.8 feet from the road. In looking at and talking and listening to what you had to say about the canopy, we only can push it back so far based on the configuration of the lot. So what we did was we looked at the plan and we actually pushed it back 8 feet further. So now we're 35 feet from the road.
Right, I'm sorry, stop right there. You're saying you're presenting tonight a plan that is 8 feet more than before, is that right?
That is correct.
All right.
All right, so it's 27 feet, now we moved it to 35 feet.
And that's as a result of the comments that we heard from your last meeting.
All right.
Obviously, we haven't formally submitted that to the township, but since they...
All right, so there's no plan, but you're going to push the canopy and the gas pumps back an additional 8 feet, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right.
So what we did was, I have a 3D architect that can do some of these renderings to actually show perspective. And I think perspective is really key to understanding what it looks like. I've been doing this for over 22 years now, and I've developed 35 Wawa stores that are currently open. And these renderings really tell the story of what this development will look like. So if you flip to the next perspective here, it's a little while.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
It's like a drum roll. So in this perspective now, you have the handouts. You can see the canopy is set further back from the road of where the Exxon was. This would be at 35 feet from the road. And all you would see is, and this is probably standing at the Royal Bank property, the old Royal Bank property, looking across the road. And you can't even see the Wawa building. All you see is the A-frame of the canopy that is set back off the road. So if you flip to the next perspective, this is going eastbound on 23. And this really shows the canopy of the Exxon and where it sits on the road and how we can make this improvement here. We can't meet the 50-foot setback, but if you flip to the next picture, you'll see that the canopy is set way back on the road, from the road at 35 feet, and you can see the brick and pier fencing and streetscape that we put in as that entrance feature that was a recommendation of the Planning Commission. So you flip to the next one, the next perspective. This would be directly standing on the old Royal Bank property, looking at the caddy corner across the street of what the Exxon looks like today. And if you flip to the next picture, this is what the Wawa property would or could look like based on the development plan that we have in front of you. And what we did was we met with the Planning Commission, and they said, hey, how can you buffer things and how can you add to this site and maybe give us a welcome to Schuykill Township. So we took all those things, and we've done these things up at Atwater. If you look at the Atwater property up in Great Valley, we've done it at a few other places. The streetscape really softens anything interior to the site, which would be the parking and the traffic flow and so on and so forth. So this is a landscaped, this is our best rendition of a landscape plan with amenities.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? I'm jumping ahead and I apologize, but this particular rendition, does this show the sign package that you're proposing, or have you measured, or is there a different measurement?
This is the sign package that we are proposing. Correct.
To scale?
To scale, yes.
All right.
Okay, so if you flip to the next. perspective here. These are just some pictures. So this is the entrance on Whitehorse Road. And I know Greg will go into further commentary on this. But this, I actually got my gas here tonight on my way home from working out. And I pulled out and there's one car queuing here. You know, so we're proposing to move that entrance back 3 times as far from the intersection, which would probably allow, and I'll let Greg tell you, but probably 8 to 9 car queuing, something to that effect. And then we would have a full access driveway on Whitehorse. And we would eliminate, if you look on that perspective, the 23 access, which sits right at the intersection. We would eliminate that, and our access point would be furthest from 23, and that would become a right in, right in, left out. No, right in, right out, left in, no lefts out. Begin to flip to the next slide. So the total rental has a parking area where they store vehicles. Right now, we're proposing to move that total rental property into the rear of the property where the Whitehorse Auto is. And we'll show you this on our perspective on the land development plan. But what we're going to do there is improve that lot. We're going to pave it, we're going to curb it, we're going to put nicer fencing there and landscaping. We flip to the next perspective. So this is the Whitehorse Auto property, which is a residential house up front, which it has 2 rentals in it, I believe, and then the Whitehorse Auto sits in the back, and there's just a cluster of cars on the property at this point. We flip to the next perspective. So, you know, I live in this community, and this is what 50% of the Exxon is selling right now, which is weed paraphernalia and vapes and cigarette and tobacco. And as a community store and living in this neighborhood, you know, my kids go here to get gas, they walk in the store, and this is what they say. So to me, this is not a community store. Wawa is a community store, and it services the community. And this is not what I want to have in my community when I pull in as the first retail store. So I wanted to put that up in view. I don't know if anybody has been in that Exxon and seen this, but it's not, I'm not prideful in that. I think that's the gist of what I wanted to present, and then we'll get more experts up here. Does anybody have any questions?
Lisa's going to talk now about the proposed plan and improvements that are proposed.
Yes.
Danielle, you can see everything they're presenting so far, okay? Danielle, you still there?
Can.
That's on mute.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
She has the.
Did you have any questions?
No, I don't, but thank you.
Okay.
Is it okay if he speaks by the, so we can
Yeah.
Sure.
present the plan? Okay, I didn't know if
Yep.
he was on Zoom and people were.
Nope, that'll work.
I did have one question. When you showed the picture of the Taylor Rental backhoes on the very, I guess that would be most northern part, where did you say they're going to end up? Are they moving those around?
That's going to be the Taylor rental lot in the very back.
Okay.
And that's what limits us from moving the structure, the canopy back any further, because it would compromise what we can do in the back of the store, because it is a front-back store, which Jason will explain to you.
So in moving the canopy back to a total of, I think you said 35 feet from 27, is the whole building moving back, or are you shrinking the building?
Everything shifted by that 8 feet. I'll tell you how that happened too.
Okay.
And just to clarify too, the 35 feet is from the ultimate right-of-way line.
Yep.
That's this line right here. Okay, so that ultimate right-of-way line sits back about another 18 feet from the existing carway. So 53 feet from the existing carway is roughly where the closest point of the canopy would be located. Just to walk you through around the plan, We mentioned this driveway access, right out, full movement in. That's your entrance onto Bailey Forge Road.
No left south.
No left south, yeah, right out there. You have the gasoline canopy, that's that shaded tan area here. That's gonna contain 5 fuel dispensers. That's 10 fuel positions. At the last Board of Supervisors meeting, it seemed like there was some confusion that we were actually adding pumps. We're actually taking 1 pump away. We're going down from 12 fuel positions to 10. You got the 6,049 square foot Wawa convenience store. This is a front back entry store. They are very convenient. People that are getting gas will tend to park or go into the front of the store, where if you're going in for a hoagie or a sandwich or something, not gas, you'll have parking spaces behind the store and an entry that you can go to the rear of the store and not have to go into the fueling area. There's a total of 50 parking spaces around the site. Meets code requirements. The entrance out to North Whitehorse will be a full movement driveway. And then that equipment rental property, like Joe had mentioned, is moving where the auto repair shop and that dwelling, the residential dwelling, was located. What else was there?
So that landscaping and fencing.
Landscaping and fencing, sure. So how do we get that 10-foot or that additional 8 feet? Well, there was a perimeter setback, a 10-foot perimeter setback along the proposed rear property line of the Wawa and the equipment rental storage lot. Do we need 20 feet between the two? It does not seem like we do. So in order to move the development back further from Bailey Forge, which I believe was pretty much the main concern of everyone on the board based on what I heard at the last meeting, we're proposing to shift the entire lot back so that the parking area of the Wawa is basically on the rear property line. We will not provide the 10-foot perimeter buffer, if preferred, on the Wawa lot. We would still, however, provide that 10-foot perimeter buffer between the Wawa and the equipment storage rental parking area. And that strip is located there as shown here. Proposing a white vinyl 6-foot high fence along the edge of the parking of the equipment storage rental. It's 2 feet off the pavement so that there's a little bit of room from people backing into the fence. And we'll have about 8 feet of landscape buffer between the fence and the rear of the parking lot of the lot. We're also providing that same vinyl fence along the perimeter of the equipment storage on the outside of the property. And we had mentioned you saw from the perspectives, the stone and pier fence that would be proposed in front of the Wawa.
And that fence was an issue that was raised by one of the neighbors at, I believe, a supervisor's meeting we had attended before you.
We can go higher on that fence at the property line where the neighbor is. We can go to 10 feet, you know, where it wraps.
You're talking the northmost end, which would be the right side of the plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
Did that change your entrance back with the property line as well?
Yes, that did push the Whitehorse Road entrance back another 10 feet roughly. Because Bailey Forge is on an angle, that's why the canopy only picked up 8 feet versus the 10 feet that were shifting everything back.
Right.
But yeah, that did go back another 8 feet plus or minus. And from the previous proposed Exxon driveway, that's another 165 feet further back from the intersection.
So the 35.7 is just from that corner closest to the traffic light.
Yep.
On the other end, you're well above that, you're saying?
Well above that, yes.
So averaging somewhere in the middle of 60 plus, probably?
That sounds about right, yes.
Did you also decrease the size of the proposed freestanding signs?
The freestanding sign is the same as what was previously shown in the zoning application.
Okay.
It's less than what was proposed across the street.
Okay. Then,
And just to point that out, the freestanding sign will be off the entrance to Bailey Forge Road. We'll have a canopy sign on the corner of gasoline canopy. there's 2 spanner signs that will be put on the, not columns, but basically the joists that go across the pump canopy, or the pump islands.
Can we stay with the signs for a second? The permitted is 100 square feet, the ask is 223, is that correct?
That's correct.
Anyone can answer. And I know we're not formal tonight, but is there a way for you to assure the board that ultimately the signs will not be any larger than they are in this exhibit? You know, we're not dealing in formalities. My thinking is, this is one thing, I don't want to see later different signs.
No, this is what we're proposing.
All right, well, I'll figure out a way to lock this down. Okay, all right, thank you. Go ahead.
That's pretty much everything to cover for the proposed conditions.
So I wanted that, we're adding stormwater management also, none currently exists on the site, is that correct?
That's correct. To my knowledge, there isn't any stormwater management controls on the site today. The entire Exxon property, based on topography, shows that it's just draining into Bailey Forge Road. Schuykill Township has much more stringent stormwater management controls. I believe you have to reduce the 10-year post-development storm down to the 2-year pre-development storm, as well as every storm, 25, 50, and 100, you have to reduce those by at least 10%.
This is for Debbie. Have you been able to find any prior zoning hearing board decisions on this property?
On this particular
On
property?
any of the 4 that are involved in this?
I mean, I obviously have the one that was diagonal for the that one.
Not that one, no, I mean for this property.
No.
All right, okay.
My understanding, I know that we talked about this earlier, and I think we did, somebody, I don't know if I did right to know, we looked, but I thought that it predated the prior use, was obviously not.
Well, we're trying to figure out whether this was done with permission or how it was done, and we can't yet put our finger on it.
My
We're still
understanding is
looking.
that it predated the ordinance, so it was
Okay.
a fall from a conformity.
Okay.
Any questions up here? Danielle, any questions?
No, sorry. It takes a while to find the mute button. Okay.
All right. Just so I've covered
Oh,
everything, I mean,
so-
I understand your size.
Hold on one second, Bill. Go ahead, Danielle.
No, so I'm following along at home and looking at the presentation. Thank you very much for the slides, Lori. So it sounds like we've increased the setback from Valley Forge Road by about 10 feet. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I understood that.
8 feet.
8.
8.6.
8.6?
Yes.
Okay, and you did that by reducing the setback between the total rental property and the back portion of the Wawa lot. Is that correct?
That's correct. The parking that's behind the back of the Wawa store is now roughly on the property line and eliminated the 10-foot perimeter buffer on the Wawa lot. But the 10-foot perimeter buffer will still be provided on the equipment rental lot behind the Wawa lot.
Do you need zoning really for that change, or is that,
I think we probably will need it for that. So instead of 2 10-foot perimeter buffers, we'll have 1, so instead of 20-foot.
can you add that to what you're doing, or is it too late?
Well, that's a point I was going to mention tonight, because the hearing has to get re-advertised anyhow. I don't think Pat is still confirming with the school district the venue. We were going to file an amendment to the application.
To cover that point?
Cover,
Okay.
yeah, and anything else, we would submit the revised plan,
All right.
so there's an opportunity to review it before the hearing.
All right.
So in essence, you'll move the fence back to the property line? Is that what you're saying, the white vinyl fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the vinyl fence probably would be best served about 2 feet off of the pavement of the equipment rental, and then that would afford us the opportunity to put some landscaping in front of it that would be visible from Bailey Forge, North White Horse, and the Wawa lot.
Which is what you have shown here in brown.
Yes.
Okay, and the little white line to the right of it is the white fence, correct?
Yeah, it's hard to see on here, but the white fence is about 2 feet off of the edge of the grade
Okay.
pavement.
So it's this.
It's right there.
I think we got a
This-
couple
this
slides.
Right.
Yeah, fence.
So it'd still look the
Can we do-
same.
Sure.
visually, you'll still have the same look, you're just moving everything back. It's not like you're getting rid of any of that. Okay.
That's all the property line.
And for the-
Detail of the change of the change.
And then the next
And Bill,
slide.
for
is real life,
the neighbor's sake, if they wanted it to go up, if they wanted it to go to 10 feet, we can give the green light to
Yeah,
do
we can
that.
approve that, yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the neighbor, right? I think the neighbor would probably approve a 10-foot, I'd imagine.
Probably want it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was this?
Yes, this is the fence and pier, stone pier fence that would be going in front of the store along Valley Forge Road. That's a real picture of what this project would show.
Sample.
So that would go here.
Yep.
Can you enlarge your lot size by a deal with Total Rental to give you another quarter acre, half acre, or anything, so that you could facilitate moving the pumps back even further? We appreciate the 8.6 feet, but is there any way that can work? How about a smaller building?
This is about the smallest Wawa building that they have. The front back building is smaller than the front entry only building by about 500 square feet or so, but it is smaller.
Their current prototype is 6,600 square feet. It's also considerably smaller than what your ordinance allows. It allows 10,000 square feet. We're also much lower on your building coverage and impervious coverage where we meet. So, you know, we meet all the area and bulk requirements. It's not like we're putting too much on the site. Building impervious, size of the building under your ordinance. One thing that I know Wawa has been part of the reason for the size building is the bathrooms are much larger today, so that accommodates for, believe it or not, more than square footage within.
Are the bathrooms larger than the one out on 113?
I don't, this is, what's the size of the bathroom?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Are they the same size as the one down on 23, or, sorry, 29, the one in Wayne? Or Malvern, or whatever that's considered?
Great Valley?
It's probably
Great
similar
Valley.
to that. Probably similar.
It's about the same.
All right. There are some other issues about truck turns, but this is the zoning case, and we'll talk about that later.
We do have Greg,
Greg
who's
here.
going to talk
We have a
about.
truck turn.
All right, okay.
I do have one question, Bill, Lori.
Yep, we can hear you.
Go
Yep.
ahead, Danielle.
Great. I did, one question, I understand that the sign that they're proposing is about twice what our sign ordinance would permit. How does the sign size compare to what's there existing at the Exxon today? And I'm sorry if that question was already asked and answered.
It wasn't a good question. How does your proposal compare with what's there now? And how does it compare with Phoenixville? And how does it compare? Third part of that question, is Wawa in any of their facilities compromised on the sign size?
I can't answer if Wawa's compromised on sign size for other projects. I don't recall any that I worked on that could permit a freestanding sign level. I don't have measurements of Exxon or Sunoco, but I would say that these signs are very similar both in height and area as the Sunoco and Exxon. I think the perspective kind of which maybe shed some light on that.
It looks like your sign's going to be further from the intersection of Whitehorse
That's correct.
Yeah.
going west.
And of course, each property is treated on its own, but I did want to note that the Wawa that we proposed 6 years ago, caddy corner from the site, the zoning hearing board did approve that signage relief, and that signage was actually greater than what's being requested as part of our application.
Did you get a variance for that? Or
It
did
was
the
variance.
applicant get a variance for
Yes.
that? They did?
They did, and it was approved. That was one of the ones that was approved. Some of the other ones were not, but
So
the
this-
signage was.
This is further back from the corner and further in from the right-of-way, it looks like. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right, again, we appreciate hearing it. It's not part of the zoning case,
No,
so
I
it's
know,
part
we
of the
just wanted,
conditional
I
use
know
case,
that in the
but.
last meeting, there was some concern about traffic and
All right,
safety.
okay.
So Greg will be quick, he just wanted to.
Sure, I'm not rushing anyone. I just want to make
No,
it
we
clear that this
appreciate
is
your
not
time.
part of the zoning case, as you know.
Right, we understand.
Good evening. Again, Greg Richardson with Traffic Planning Design. I've been before you many times. Different applications. Good to see you again. I don't want to be repetitious because they've already mentioned, some of our previous witnesses have already talked about the access, but what I wanted to do is expand on those, the items. Mr. Bada, Joe had mentioned the driveway today on White Horse is located right at the stop line. As soon as you pull out, you're right at the stop line. I don't know if it's going to work on the screen.
No, we've done that before, it does not work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It works there, but not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, the driveway, the stop bar is located approximately 25 feet from the curb line from Valley Forge Road. And the driveway is approximately right at the stop line. I mean, it's, when you pull out, this bottom, anecdotally told you tonight what happened when you did. By being able to move the driveway further away, we are able to achieve two things. One is to increase the stacking on that approach. Today, one car, if you can call it one car, is probably a half car. And by moving the driveway back, it's approximately 200 feet away. In that distance, you can get 8 vehicles stacked with the existing configuration of White Horse Road. There is also the driveway, when I mean configuration, number of lanes. The driveway on Valley Forge Road is approximately where the driveway is today, but the plan here eliminates one of the driveways. And that driveway technically is almost in the middle of the intersection. So that is going to reduce conflict points for vehicles coming in and out of the site as they do today. We've also mentioned that the driveway on Valley Forge Road would prohibit left turns out. We have presented this plan in forms that you've seen in the past. We've submitted a scoping application to PennDOT. We've received some preliminary comments from them about what we need to include in the traffic studies that we are being requested to provide through your engineers' review letters, and those are both from September, I believe. I'm not sure, Paul, if you have any other review letters since September.
It was just this September for the sketch plan.
So Paul and T&M has given us some scoping comments, and PennDOT has given us some scoping comments. We know this intersection is heavily traveled. It's very congested, and basically limited by the lack of turn lanes on White Horse. And so PennDOT has asked us to look at seeing what we can do about improving the capacity of this intersection. So the other thing I'd like to point out from a traffic standpoint is we've mentioned that this is a front-back store, and the ability for that is it doesn't necessarily affect the driveways and the neighboring and the adjacent streets. But what it does is improve safety on the site because it segregates the customers that, they could go to the back of the store, the rear of the store, or the north in this case, and use the spaces there without interfering or interacting with the customers that are utilizing the fueling positions. So therefore, when the customer parks at the fueling position and wants to cross over, certainly the interaction is going to be less than what you would have with a front entrance only store. And again, that would also, mainly direct the traffic from here, from White Horse to that rear of that building, and reduce, basically separate the traffic on the site based on, the desire of the patrons that want to get gas and just visit the store by itself. So we will be looking intensely at this intersection. We always focus on this intersection in every traffic studies that we do. But the importance here is that we aren't going to be looking at, do we need turn lanes on White Horse to turn into the driveway? That was a comment by your engineer as well as PennDOT. A turn lane, extending the turn lane on Valley Forge Road for provide a stacking area for the driveway, which doesn't exist today. So we have some work to do from that standpoint, and we'll be getting into that more during the land development if and when we get to that point. But, you know, we appreciate your comments to date. We appreciate PennDOT's comments to date, so we at least are working with you and getting your comments up front. And that way we can try to resolve some of the issues and your concerns here at this intersection.
Greg, we have a truck turning template here to show real quickly, so just want to make sure they see it. Should be the last thing. Should be the last thing.
You see that?
Yes, this is what we call a truck turning template. It basically shows the tracking of the vehicles. I'm sure you've seen these in other land developments. But the importance here is to show that the vehicle can turn in to the site, basically circle around. The fueling positions are between, the tanks themselves are located between the fueling positions and the canopy and Valley Forge Road. And the natural, the way they drop the fuel on the site is to come in.
Does this show the 8-foot back or the?
Turn into the site and then sit at the pumps and
It's supposed to be 8 feet back.
dispense the fuel.
Does it?
I've done surveys. I did one in King of Prussia, and then at other sites where it takes about 20 minutes to drop that fuel out of the tanks. They drop pretty quickly. And they usually get, it depends on the demand of the fuel. At the store, you can get one truck a day, but those are usually out at what we call off-peak hours. And Wawa can control that scheduling to basically not coincide with the busiest times at the intersection, as well as the busy times on site, such as lunchtime and your peak hours, when people getting coffee in the morning.
Does this rendering show the new proposal, which is 8.6 feet back, or does this show the original proposal?
Yes, that would have been updated based on.
This is updated based on the new proposal. Okay, all right, thank you.
Any questions?
So the lines that you have drawn here and the little arrows that you have here, this is for a tractor trailer?
This is one, the same length and size of a fueling position, a fueling truck.
It's a fueling
Yeah,
tanker,
yeah.
okay.
And they're not as big as what you'd see like a moving van. A moving van, like we require, PennDOT requires you to look at what we call a WB67, which is a wheel-based 67, monster trucks.
Okay.
The fueling position, the fueling trucks are usually what we call WB50, so they're almost 15 to 20 feet
Yes,
shorter.
they're shorter.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a commercial driver's license, so I understand what you're talking about here.
Okay.
So, does this also accommodate straight vehicles? Like a fire truck or a school bus or
Well, we
the
would
turning
have to-
radiuses that would be needed for a long straight vehicle?
We would have to run, if you have a specific fire truck that you would like us to run, most likely, if you could get a fuel truck in here, but we are asking every township to provide
Okay.
that information and have your fire marshal, local fire chiefs and fire marshals.
Okay, we
look at
have-
those. And certainly, that's
here.
not alien to us, that
Okay.
we often look at that. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So when is that appropriate for our fire marshal to review?
Not yet, not in zoning.
Not yet, okay.
Yeah, land development.
Okay,
Land
okay.
development.
Yeah, and if you have a particular size truck, we can actually take that. This is a software called Auto Turn, and we can adapt it to whatever size vehicle you have, because it takes into account the overhang. If it's a ladder truck, if the ladder is usually longer than the truck itself. So we certainly, if you have those characteristics, we do that very often. We're certainly happy to do that.
Great.
Any other questions? Danielle? All right, I think we're going to take a short break, go into
Oh,
exec
thank you.
session, and then head back. Do I need to do anything to formalize that, or just?
Well,
You
to be
should
clear for the
adjourn
record,
to executive session.
the break is an executive session.
Right, we're going to
not-
step out
We'll step
for an
out.
executive session and come right back.
All right.
So give us a few minutes.
Thank you.
All right, we're back from exec session. We'll reopen the meeting.
All right, the board wishes to thank the applicant for its presentation and for the concession, particularly with regard to the distance from the canopy and the fuel pumps from the roadway. We do note serious and continuing concerns about the truck turning templates. These will need to be overcome. It's a saldo issue, but we did not want to proceed without making mention of it and our concerns about it. We recognize there will be a conditional use hearing when conditions will be reviewed and discussed. There will also be a land development plan. I understand that the board is willing to make a motion to revise the prior motion taken at their last meeting. However, we need some assurance that in connection with the zoning relief requested, that the sign package will be no larger than presented to us this evening, albeit informally, in exhibits A3 and A8, particularly photograph SK020723-01. The idea being that the board does not want to be surprised later with a more aggressive sign package. So, having said that as the background, I'm looking for a motion from the board to modify the board's prior action in opposing and formally opposing the application to a position of neutrality. That is, I would not be directed to appear and oppose the application. This is not an endorsement of the application. It is merely a statement of neutrality with consideration of the sign issue and notification of the truck turning template that I have identified. So do I hear a motion to modify the prior decision of the board concerning opposition?
Would anyone like to make that motion?
I will make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any comments from the public? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. We'll talk about this.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
All right. Thank you for
guys.
coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Thanks for making those concessions. Great.
That's it, Brian. Thanks.
Okay, next up, we have zoning hearing board application 100 Ferry Lane. If you can, is anybody here to speak on that? Can you step up and tell us your name and address?
Sue Ellen Razor.
Can you grab the microphone or step up to it, please?
We need to change the height there.
There you
Sue
go.
Ellen Razor, 100 Ferry Lane, Phoenixville. My mailing address is Valley Forge. I believe the deed is under master, Sue Ellen Master. And I've applied for a variance for my shed, hopefully to stay where it has been for the last 16 years. It was built with a permit issued from the township in 2007. At that time, we were undergoing a subdivision, but we had intended to keep the back lot where the shed is, and what was built before it was, the subdivision was finalized.
Before it started, the shed was built before you had the
No.
subdivisions.
No, subdivision was started in 2005. The shed was built in 2007. And I really don't have a place to move it to. I've had several
Did she say it was
shed
moved?
movers.
Another one.
Shed,
Oh, the smaller
what
one?
about demolishing it? I've had people there. They can maybe be moved, but it's a risk because of its size and its age and where to put it.
couple of questions. What is the material it's made of?
It is frame and it has vinyl siding, shingle roof. It doesn't look like a shed, it looks like a garage without a garage door. And as I said, it's been there for 16 years. My neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Pellegrino, who bought the subdivision from me, Mr. Pellegrino was opposed to a variance before. Now he is not. He is in full agreement of keeping the shed where it is, and his property is under contract with TH Properties, and they are in agreement with it to stay where it is now located.
All right, maybe I can fill the board in a little bit. What happened here was that there was some activity in 2005, and for a lot of reasons, none of them the township's fault, I might add, the project stalled and nothing happened for many years. Later, and I think it was around 2015 or so, a plan was presented to the township for subdivision. The plan did not show this large shed, and I believe there's another storage area next to it.
That's been removed.
Okay, and the problem is that in zoning, a township is not permitted to grant subdivision approval when that approval would create a zoning violation. And the fact of approval of the subdivision created an encroachment by these two buildings or structures right abutting the property line. Now, we didn't know about it. It wasn't on the plan. I'm not going to, blame, whoever, Wilkinson or whoever, but in any event, that was the situation. We didn't know anything about it. Mr. Pellegrino came to the township and he said that he wanted relief. He wanted action taken to have a citation issued against the owner for having a property butting up against the property line. Under the law, the MPC, when a zoning violation is brought to the township's attention, the township has no authority, the zoning officer has no authority to look the other way and say it doesn't matter, it doesn't count. The township has to deal with it and resolve it. So I've had numerous conversations with Mr. Pellegrino, with Mr. Rittenhouse about all of this, and our position from the beginning has been, look, one solution is to remove both the shed and the storage area. That would seem to solve the problem. The other is for you to come in and get a variance. And that's apparently the path that you're on. And I think that, it's kind of surprising. Mr. Pellegrino comes in and raises the issue, demands relief, and now he's sort of done a 180 and he's in support of your application. Is that right?
Well, that's because it's under contract. And
okay.
He wants to make settlement and he wants his money. Yeah, the people that are buying, that it's under contract with, they're in agreement for it to stay where it is.
All right, so there's nobody else who's going to be harmed by this other than you and Pellegrino and TH Properties. Now, what happens if somebody buys this lot next to you and then comes to us later and complains about this thing being on the property line?
Well, if I get the variance for it to stay.
It'll cover it. You're right. Okay. All right.
That will cover that.
All right. All right. I don't make policy. My recommendation would be that I do appear at this hearing to explain this, I was going to say this mess, but this situation. And, but my recommendation would be that the supervisors not effectively oppose it, because then we have a new set of problems with what to do in terms of the development process. So that's my observation. Obviously, you do what you want.
I have a question. In order to be granted final approval for the plans, the township had to inspect the monuments for the property lines. So I don't understand how the township did not know that the shed was there when the property monument is only about a foot from the back of the shed.
The plan wasn't on the shed was not on the plan that was presented to the supervisors for approval. And we were told,
I don't know why it wasn't.
Okay, we don't either. And what we're trying to do is facilitate a resolution of this, and I don't know what I don't understand your question about the pins.
Well, maybe he could.
She was talking about a field inspection that was required by the township for the final placement of the monuments. So when the engineer, not this firm, but the prior engineering firm, did the inspection for the monuments, that it was right there and the shed was right there and it right in their hands.
Well,
We're not putting-
you want to spend the next 5 years fighting over that, that's fine with me, but we're trying to help you, by the way. We're trying to say that we're not going to oppose it, and the board, I think, if they pass the motion, is willing to send me to explain this situation, which I think helps you. And I think that's where we are, but I don't think you're helping yourself saying that the prior engineer caused the problem. Okay?
Well, I just did, it's my understanding that the township said that they didn't know that it was there, because I understand because it wasn't on the plans. But if the township inspected the monument.
Well, we don't know who inspected the monuments. They may send, I don't know if John Sartor went out to inspect the monuments. I don't know if they had a laborer inspect the monuments. I don't know, ma'am. And I'm just saying you're not helping yourself here with this issue of the monuments.
Okay.
Okay.
I will make the motion that we ask Bill to attend the zoning hearing board whenever this meeting takes place.
For application 2023-01.
Yes, thank you. To go there to not oppose it, but to at least explain the situation to the zoning hearing board.
Second.
Do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's plenty.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Didn't
See you at
know
the
you
hearing.
muted, but I'm going to take it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bill.
Okay.
All right, moving on, new business, authorization for township manager to close accounts with First Resource Bank. Lori?
It's okay.
All right.
I'll explain both of them, and then we can just go down, and you guys can make the motions. I mentioned this earlier, we opened new accounts for the board approved this a couple months back with Pliget, and we've made investments, so this is where the money came from that went into the Pliget accounts with the higher interest rates. So I'm recommending that we close these accounts at this point because we've withdrawn all the money from them.
I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Go ahead, Mark, you can do that.
Discussion, public comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that ties right into your second. Authorization for township manager to close accounts with Meridian Bank. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any comment? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Authorization to release payment number 1 to DOLI Construction in the amount of $473,413.45 for the Paul Lehman project. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion.
Lori, this comes out of the ARP fund, is that correct?
300,000 of it is technically coming out of capital roads, but that's because 300,000 of that is coming back into us from the grant that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And then the excess, so the other 173, the other $173,414.45 is coming from the ARP funds. That's correct.
Cool. I forgot that the grant was that much money.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good find.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Public comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Consideration of approval of general code proposal in the amount of $17,250 for supplement number 15 and recodification of township code. This is a budgeted item. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Lori?
So general code is, this is the company that organizes our code for us. This is where all of our code is housed. So every year we do a supplement to to update and incorporate any new ordinance that are passed. So some of that is included in this, but the bulk of this work, we haven't done in 20 years about. So what general code will do is they will go through our entire code of ordinances, and they'll look for inconsistencies with any new state laws that have been passed. They also look at surrounding municipalities and their codes to see kind of where we align with that, and they'll make recommendations for us to make improvements. So
When did you say this was last done?
it's been, according to,
Well, it's been, the last supplement was done in 2020.
we update them,
codification.
but the
Yeah.
last time that we had a full review
Yeah.
of the legislation, that the more encompassing part of this has been a very long time.
Kim, do you remember when we had a group of us, it was Mary and you and me, and I don't even remember, Bill may be a part of that?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Didn't we do this when it was codified?
Yes, we did some revisions, but not.
I don't think you
Oh,
did
so it
full
wasn't a
codification.
full comprehensive thing then? Okay, okay.
And this is, the general code is going to do this for us.
Yeah.
So whatever updates would have been made,
Yeah, I thought this was done, I thought we had general code do it at the same time. I guess not.
They did change a lot, but we changed it, we went through it and changed some verbiage.
Oh,
Took out specific names.
I thought when they made it an electronic form for us, that they reviewed all that, but I guess, it sounds like
Generally,
they
they
didn't.
just pick it up and stick it in there as it is, and then if you
Okay.
ask them and pay them to do it, they'll do it like that.
Okay, then I
So-
guess we didn't do that then.
Correct.
Okay.
so this will be more of a recommendation of, hey, we see all these things. Will they then come back with a second proposal potentially to say, here's the cost to make all the changes we're recommending?
They'll do a recommendation, they'll review everything, and then they'll make a recommendation to us, but there shouldn't be an additional cost. That's to do the whole recodification.
Great.
That's included.
Great.
Oh, okay.
All right, any further discussion? We have a motion, a second. Public comment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Excellent. Consideration of approval of 5-year lease agreement for a new copier in the administration in the amount of $1,668 per year. And it is a CoStar's product. It is a budgeted item. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion.
well, thank you, because we were about to wheel our current one out of the building today and just leave it in the parking lot. Our existing machine is just out of date, and we own it, which is not really recommended for office equipment like that. This will allow us to update and make sure that our technology is current, so that's why you see the lease.
And this was purchased, the one that we have, I think that was purchased back in like
2013.
2013, I was gonna say 2012, 2013.
Yeah. We think it hurt us talking about replacing it today because it just stopped.
Put the whammy on it. All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, congratulations, you have a new copier on the way.
Small
Resolutions
victories.
and ordinances. Approval of resolution number 2023-11, amending 2023 fee schedule. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Discussion.
This is just a slight edit. We made an administrative error when we passed the fee schedule at the reorg meeting, so this is just cleaning it up. We missed updating Mr. Brennan's fee.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2-minute reports. Board liaisons.
Susan, if you don't mind, I will do the EAC since I know you weren't there, if that's okay. The only thing that the EAC has going on right now is on April 22nd, they're going to be doing a litter pickup on Pot House Road. I think the meeting place is going to be on West Evergreen Drive from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we want to thank the Valley Forge Volunteer Fire Police for giving us traffic control for that. I think Chris is going to be meeting with Earl to kind of scope out the situation. I know he's very nervous when we do moving traffic stuff, so.
We're just grateful you picked a straight road this year.
And it's a very filthy road, so it'll be a good one, so.
No. we don't
And that's the only thing from the EAC at the moment, so. I don't have anything to report from the Historical Commission. Actually, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not true. They are working on creating historic districts within the township to get further protection for some of their historic buildings. Lori and I had talked about this a little bit because they really didn't know where to go and how to move forward with it. So before they put a whole lot of work into this, they are going to be presenting something to us. Because I told them not to put a whole lot of work into this until they came to us. And, yeah. So, I don't know when that's gonna happen, but sometime soon, they're gonna answer 3 questions for us. The why, the how, and the what, so.
Perhaps the where.
And the where, yes, and the where, I'm sorry, that was a good one.
Excellent.
So, that's pretty much it for my 2 reports.
Mark, anything to report?
Planning Commission didn't meet. I think they're planning to meet maybe in March of 2027 or so. I mean,
You're such a comedian, Mark.
I do like having my third Wednesday nights free, but we should meet sometime.
Okay, Susan, anything else?
No, that's it.
Danielle, anything to report?
No.
Okay. Township manager. Oh, wait a minute. Fire, anything to report?
Sure.
Can you come up to the microphone?
Yep. Yep. Gotta step up on stage.
Okay. 39 fire calls for the month, 239 EMS calls for the month. I'd like to highlight the approximate 40 members that we had in training for almost 90 hours this month. A reminder in these cold winter months to clean your heaters and your chimneys. And if you could join us March 4th at 7 a.m. for our pancake breakfast, which is a misnomer, it's much more than pancakes. And if you'd like to buy some soup, our soup sale is February 18th. Details are on the website.
Or what's the date for the pancakes and more than
March
pancakes?
4th.
March 4th.
And it's a breakfast buffet, not a pancake breakfast. Yes, it's a smorgasbord.
Yeah, we should change that word.
Questions? I'm sorry. Any questions?
Who's cooking?
Nobody I know.
Oh, okay.
We got to volunteer to help you with the marketing of that gourmet buffet. Thank you, guys. Great job. Township manager, anything to report?
Very quickly, but we did launch our new township website last week, and it's going great. We're super excited about it.
It looks great.
Thank you. We're still working on updating it. It's not perfect yet. It's still a work in progress, but
It does function pretty well.
yeah, we're really happy with the outcome. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Paul's gonna update you guys on our other projects that we've got going on.
Good deal. Great job on that. It wasn't an easy project. We appreciate everything you
Very
guys did
time-consuming,
to get
yeah.
it together. And the logo is stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention how easy it is to use. All right, Chief of Police, welcome back.
Thank you.
Anything to report?
Happy to be back. Other than my report, I really don't have anything to add at this time. Do you have any questions for me?
Don't? No. It's good to have you back.
Yes.
Yeah, happy to be
Yeah.
back. Happy to be back. Thank you.
Great.
Excellent. Paul, Township Engineer.
With the Paul Lehman Drive, the pay app just came in, so they've been progressing nicely. Again, they're waiting for the weather to break to finish up the paving. We're assuming usually April 1st is when the asphalt plant starts to wake up. If we have weather like this for a continued period of time, we might get a little bit earlier than that. In addition, we're planning to have a site walk inspection with Dolly. It'll be T&M representatives, Nick, and Dolly just walking through and just taking an inventory of, the disturbance and things that need to get fixed and cleaned up prior to the next steps, which would be the paving.
So I do have a question. Right where the water used to traverse off the road, there was a a little channel forming there, maybe a canyon. How far out does the township have to go to do any work on that if we're going to do any work?
Well,
That's private property.
Is any of that our responsibility? It going off to the right of way or anything?
No, all the water has been circumvented to go through the piping system that goes all the way down Paul Lehman Drive.
Okay.
And Nick even said that the swale is dry. It's not taking any of the waters that it had previous. And the inlet that's at North Forge Mountain Road, the old archaic one that got replaced, that one's functioning very well, and there hasn't been any kind of ponding or swamp issues that they had in the past.
So with all the rain that we've had, it's behaving the way you anticipated it. That's fantastic.
It's doing its job.
Great. The road's stable enough where there was some erosion right off the side?
Correct, yes.
Good. Good deal.
That's fantastic.
Excellent.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It sounded like a great deal, too, with what they did for the price they did it. All right, additional business, discussion on agenda items for upcoming workshop meetings.
I, at this point, do not have anything for a workshop agenda. So unless any of the board members have anything or a strong burning desire to see me more times this month, then.
Not short term, maybe longer term.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, probably longer term, but nothing, nothing in 2 weeks.
No.
Yeah.
Do we want to scrap that, or what are we thinking?
In 2 weeks. I'll let you know.
All right, so what do we do about the next meeting? We don't have anything? We normally
If we don't have anything, then we don't have
cancel
to,
it?
we don't have to have it, yeah.
All right.
Danielle, do you have anything?
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Danielle, I think you might be muted. Did you have anything that, any burning desire to have a workshop meeting on February 23rd to discuss any projects, or did we lose her? Can't hear you, Danielle. Mute button's top left. I'm just kidding. I don't know where it is on your computer. Danielle, are you still there?
We might have lost her.
Might have lost the connection.
Oh.
You're still muted.
All right, well.
Yep, I'll take that as a no, thank you.
She'll let us know.
We're canceling. Unless we hear otherwise from you, we're going to cancel that.
Okay.
All right, so delete event. Deleted that. All right. Announcements. What have we? All right, State Representative Melissa Schusterman will hold mobile office hours at the Schuykill Township Municipal Building on the fourth Thursday of every month from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock p.m. Staff from Representative Schusterman's office will be on site to assist residents with services such as SEPTA, senior key cards, birth and death certificates, PennDOT issues, and other state services. No appointment necessary. Feel free to stop by. The Schuykill Township Administration Building will be closed on Monday, February 20th for President's Day. On Saturday, February 18th, the fire company auxiliary is holding their soup sale from 9 to 1. Order online at Valley Forge Fire Company's website. On Saturday, March 4th, the Valley Forge Fire Company will hold its, what did you call it again? Gourmet breakfast smorgasbord. Yes, pancake breakfast.
Call it brunch.
Yes. So stop by on March 4th. It's a great get-together, and we appreciate everything you guys are doing. And other than that, public comment.
Don't all jump at once.
All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Danielle?
Aye.
If you're there,
There she is.
get some rest. Feel better.
You're just checking to make sure I'm still here, yes.
I don't want to wake you up, but you know.
And Evan, I like my coffee
Good night,
with
Danielle.
extra caffeine.
Good night, Danielle. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
All right.